Morning everyone, it's Dr. Cortez. For our subject now, assessments of learning, we are on lesson 6, constructive response test. Ipag-usapan natin ngayon guys. Sa mga late enrollees dyan, so this is my full name, my credentials. So we usually start by providing the topics we covered. Now, dun sa mga late enrollees, I just want to reiterate this one. Sa our schedule, from week 1 hanggang week number 20, we are now in week number 7, December 27, Saturday, and usually Saturdays are for synchronous and Sundays are for asynchronous lang. But I supposedly synchronous tayo ngayon, but Tim Bernard rolled out a memo na for the holidays na lahat ay asynchronous yung ating modality. That is the reason why we are having this asynchronous instead of synchronous. Yeah. But for sure, mga next time natin, siguro January is still synchronous na kasi not all of you can attend a synchronous session. That is why it's beneficial. It is for our advantage if we'll have this asynchronous lesson. Okay, so I'm going to lay down first the topics to be covered. Introduction to constructive response test, or we call this the CRT. We're going to talk about the format, characteristics, advantages and challenges, and designing the types of CRT, the essays, short response, and how we're going to score. And it is important to give feedback sa mga learners natin. So, and we also have the learning outcomes. If you have your lessons later on, it is important na palagi meron kang learning outcomes, or what are the expectations from the students after the lesson, or what are they capable of doing after a particular lesson. So that is the reason why we have the learning outcomes, the outcome-based compliance with the outcome-based education. Okay, so let's have this one, the introduction to constructive response. So last time we talked about the objective type, the true or false, the MC or the multiple choice, filling the blanks, no? Yung napag-usapan natin last time. And today naman, mga subjective type naman. Constructive response test. Essays naman pag-usapan natin ngayon. So kung yung last time, kung yung mga multiple choice or true or false enumeration, they talk about how are you going to assess the recall, understanding, skills ng mga learners natin. Ngayon naman, we are having this test to design. These are designed to assess the deeper understanding. Hindi lang memorization, hindi lang recall, but you should understand, example, their skills in application, analysis, comprehension. Beyond that, beyond the specific response, like the multiple choice. Pag multiple choice kasi, hindi naman sa nag-iisip mga to ng mga learners natin kasi may pagpipilian eh. Kumbaga, they don't have the difficulty in choosing kasi nandun na, or they don't have the difficulty in providing the correct answers kasi nandun na pag multiple choice. Pero pag mga short response, hindi nilang to recall eh, no? Kasi they're going to write, they're going to provide the answers, analyze, evaluate. Analytical thinking naman, no? Classification, analysis, applying, yan, writing, comprehension, grammar, hindi na lahat. Pag sinabi natin, constructive response test. Ano is the background of the lesson today? So, importance sa atin, important sa mga learners natin, ng mga CRTs. Of course, as I said, it will provide the learner deeper understanding. Sa atin naman, deeper assessment of their knowledge, if they can demonstrate, if they can reason out, if they have a critical thinking, yan, simple recall or understanding of facts. Hindi na marunong mag-enumeration, but we should know what are the reasons behind. And distinction from other tests, we talked about the multiple choice last time. Although, sa board exam kasi, wala namang subjective time. Wala namang filling the blanks or essay time sa board exam. Board exam questions are purely specific response. May pagpipilian, no? Multiple choice. No? But distinction of this one, the CRT to MC. Unlike multiple choice test, CRTs are open-ended. Kasi may mga CRT na short response. Iba to sa filling the blanks. Ang filling the blanks kasi, very short yung answers eh. Pero pag mga CRT like short response, sometimes they will be required to answer in sentence or phrases or mga 2 sentences. Short response, no? Not necessarily essay. Short response are shorter than essays, of course. Ang essay kasi, mas mahaba eh. So if you are going to do this CRT, the student will now be required to do critical thinking. Evaluation of the topic, evaluation of a concept, of a facts. Example, pag multiple choice, pag pinipili mo sila ng example, choices, President Ferdinand Marcos, Rodrigo Duterte, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Benigno Aquino, 4 ang choices, di ba? Pag multiple choice yan, mamimili sila. Example, who is the most popular president? It can be Rodrigo Duterte. Kapag sinabi natin deeper, broader evaluation of the concept of the fact. Ang tanong dito, why President Rodrigo Duterte is the most popular? So, we will now evaluate why popular as isang president. Okay, so let's move on. Formats and characteristics. Typical formats. Test can take various forms, including short answers, essays, problem-solving tasks. So, the reason, in-depth understanding, and critical thinking of the learners. Now, CRTs are typically open-ended. It will prompt the test takers to provide explanations or demonstrate knowledge or skills. They will allowed to be broader assessment. We can have broader assessment. Then magkakatalo sa short answer or sa essays. Kasi pag multiple choice ka naman, pag nakuha na yung pattern, nandun na lahat. No? Madaling sumagot sa estudyante, but on our part, hindi natin malalaman if who among the students have a broader knowledge of the concept. Sabi ko, may magaling magkabisado lang, meron namang mahina magkabisado, pero magaling mag-reasoning, magaling mag-evaluate. On our part, of course, CRTs are more difficult to assess. Kaya nga, pwede mo tang gawin pag the class size not that big, sample 20 students. Yan, pwedeng CRT na, or pwede mong samahan ng CRT. Yun yung exam. Kasi nga, we don't only give objective type. Meron tayong subjective type questions. Pero pag masyadong marami, example, you have 55 learners sa isang subject. At sinamahan mo subjective type, on your part, it is hard to make assessment. Pero pa mga 20 lang yung mga students mo, no? You can integrate subjective type or essay type na mga tanong kasi madaling 20 lang naman sila eh. Especially if the school is giving a tight deadline, example, only 3 days, and you will be required to submit to grade sheets. Minsan, pag nagpa-essay ka, it will take time, no? So, magagawa ka sa oras pag very tight yung deadline ng school or ng university, tapos nagpa-essay ka. So, medyo matagal. So, may mga factors na ginagamit or to be considered if when are we going to give the subjective type or essay type or short answers type. Pwede siguro yung short answers type of questions, pero wag na masyadong essay. Pag 55 ang class size or very tight deadlines. Para for example, you were given 1 week to submit your grade sheets sa registrar, you can have the essay type. Because you have enough time. Okay, scoring criteria, of course, when we are giving short answers type, meron tayong mga rubrics. Pinapaliwanag ko last time, no? Or I have been discussing this one, the rubrics. And you can have different types of rubrics depending on the assessment. Again, ay short answers lang, you have a different type of rubrics. Pag essay type, another type of rubrics. Pag performance assessment type, you have different type of rubrics. So marami kang pwedeng gamiting rubrics. Anyway, because of technology now, marami naman nakalatag na mga rubrics na pwedeng gamitin online. So, wala tayong masyadong pahirapan ng ating sarili. Nakalatag na ang mga rubrics online. You can just choose which rubric to use. Ayan. And it is important na pag magpapa-essay tayo, meron ka dapat rubric so that the learners will not judge you that you are just guessing. Or minimay mo yung sagot sa mga estudyante. Dapat meron kang rubric sa ginagamit. Pag nagtanong, Sir, how did you rate our essay? So meron kang prepare ng rubric sa akin. Para naman tayo, we are credible na we are checking properly yung mga CRT nila. Okay, so let's move on. Ito yung sample ng rubrics na ginagamit sa university. So it has the columns. The columns are for the general areas, and those have the breakdown per performance. What are the performance or the skills na tinetest natin? You can have like 5 criteria, 7. So for this one, this one is being used for essay type at mga rubrics. I have here 7 criteria na ginagamit. Example, organization, the content, the development, the grammar, of course, the punctuations, the style, the format. And if we are using samples or references, ayan, sa mga essay type natin. Okay, so of course, there is a comprehensive type. No, you can have just 4 criteria or 5 criteria ginagamit natin sa pag-rating ng mga estudyante natin. That is for essay. Iba naman yung mga rubrics are being used for projects or dito, mga short answers type ng mga test, mga or performance tasks. Yan, iba yung mga ginagamit natin. Or illustration, sample poster making, iba yung ginagamit natin mga rubrics or the portfolio, iba naman ginagamit din sa portfolio. Or pag sa mga defense naman, example sa high school, no, we have this practical research na subject. Students are required to defend their practical research. Iba naman yung mga ginagamit natin rubrics doon. For example, the presentation, the PowerPoint, the speaking skills, mga estudyante, no? Ability to answer mga questions sa defense. So, we have a different rubrics. Okay, so advantages and challenges naman for the CRT, Comprehensive Response Test. Advantages, constructive response test provide deeper insights into learners. Yan. So, sabi ko sa atin, no? Yung kanilang thought process, how are they organize their thought in writing. Yan, ang measure natin dyan. The application and analytical. The challenges dito, aside from CRTs are more difficult to assess kasi we anchor the answers sa mga rubrics nating ginagamit. Aside from those, CRTs are resource intensive manpower. The time, the labor hours, the time and labor hours. The time is spent on checking, on assessing, more time for scoring and feedback. So, hindi lang scoring, after scoring, it is important na mayroong feedback na pinoprovide sa mga students. Sa university, what I am doing is, pag nagpapa-exam kasi ako, siyempre may multiple choice, may true or false, may enumeration, sometimes may illustration pa ako may essay. I check them based on the rubrics, no? But the day after, the meeting after the exam day, I provide the answers sa mga questions nila. Nakita answers. Kasi nag-check ako talaga no? Hindi ko pinapacheckan sa mga students. Ako talaga nag-check ng mga booklets or papers. The multiple choice. Yan. So maganda pag nagpapa-exam ka, meron kang pattern na ikaw lang ang nakakaalam. Kasi may mga pattern na madaling pag-guess ng mga students. No? So, ang hirap part, para madali ng pag-check, at least meron kang pattern na sarili mo no, na ginagamit para mabilis ka rin mag-check. Pero hindi lahat ay true, hindi lahat ay false. Madaling mahulaan yan. Hindi rin pwedeng 1 to 10 ay true. Tapos 11 to 20 ay false. Madaling hulaan din yan, no? Hindi rin pwedeng alternate na false, true. Ang ginagawa ko, example, 1, 2, 3, false. Yan. 4, 5, 6, true. Ganon. Medyo mahirap siyang hulaan. But on your part, madali siyang matsikan. Yun. So the day after or the meeting after the exam, binibigay ko yung answer key and I should also provide a feedback dun sa mga essay na kanilang ginawa. Pero hindi naman lahat kasi example, you have 55 students, tapos lahat bibigyan mo ng feedback. So maubos ang oras. So ang ginagawa ko dyan, I do that randomly. Example, I give the feedback for 10 students lang or 15 students lang. Yun, 15 out of sample 40. I give the feedback. Para malaman talaga nila so that the students will know that you are really checking or reading yung kanilang mga essay. Ayan. So, at meron kang feedback and you roll out, siyempre, as I said before, bago magpa-exam ng essay, dapat alam nila yung rubrics, the criteria na kanilang nagagamitin mo so that yun ang kanilang susundan. Or yun ang pinaka-guide when they are writing the essay. Okay? So, the rubrics will ensure consistent evaluation. Yan ang reason bakit tayo rubrics. Those are the challenges na. And moving on, designing the CRTs is practices in designing the CRTs. First one, aligning the questions. Questions should directly reflect the learning objectives, ensuring relevance and clarity in measuring knowledge. Kaya mayroon tayong learning objectives. Pag gumagawa tayo ng mga questions sa essay, ina-anchor natin siya. Kasi diba last time pinag-usapan natin TOS, table with specifications. Pag gagawa ng questions, naka-table with specs yan, naka-align sa mga learning outcomes. So binabasa natin yung learning competencies. So mga tanong natin, multiple choice man yan, filling the blanks, or enumeration or essay, dapat naka-anchor dun sa ating learning objectives. Example, may nakalagay ka dong learning objectives. Enable the students to application, apply basic knowledge about marketing. Yan ang learning objectives. Ibig sabihin, pagkatapos ng lesson, the students can apply the basic 4 P's of marketing. Example, price, product, promotion. So, ang tanong mo, ang essay mo, dapat ganon. Ang essay mo, how are you going to apply the 4 P's in marketing, the 4 P's of marketing in an actual business application? Diba? Naka-align dun sa learning competencies. And that meron tayong mga clear prompts. Pag sinabi natin mga clear prompts are the instructions, the questions, the statements, or situations given to the students natin to guide them on how are they going to answer the questions. Yan ang mga prompts natin. No? So, prompt tells the learners what task to perform and what kind of answer is expected. Examples of prompts in examination or examples of prompts in test. Pag multiple choice yan, ang prompts mo ganito. Choose the correct answer. That is the prompt. So that statement, if what are the students going to do doon sa exam? So para sa direction. Pag-essay naman, ang prompt mo dyan, explain the causes of climate change. That is a prompt. Sabihin, anong gagawin ng mga estudyante? Right? Pag performance task naman, example, art appreciation ng subject or arts. Ang prompt mo dyan, pwedeng create a posters that shows the water cycle. Or pag sa science yan, ang subject of science, tapos ipapadrawing mo sila. Ang prompt dyan is create a poster showing the life cycle of a butterfly. Yun ang prompt. Statement or instructions for the students. So, in designing our CRTs, number 2, best practice, very, very clear on prompts. Writing prompts that are clear and unambiguous or hindi sa confusing is crucial. They should guide the test takers effectively without confusion. Dapat very clear, especially ng basic education. At very clear yung mga instructions natin or the prompts. And balancing the scope. Maintaining the right balance between difficulty and scope is vital. Pag very difficult, wag na masyadong maraming questions. Na binabalance natin yung scope and difficulty. Pag difficult, kunti lang yung scope. Kung ba mas narrow yung scope pag sinabi natin difficult. Pag easy naman yung questions, ayan, pwede siyang mas broader. So, example, between multiple choice and essay, siyempre essay is more difficult. So, kunti lang ang tanong pag essay type. Your scope should be narrow pag essay type. So, binabalance natin. Pero yung score niya, siyempre, isang tanong lang yan, difficult. Pero yung points dyan, siyempre mas malaki. Example, 15 points or 10 points. Kaya pag madali lang, 1 point ang binibigay natin. Example, multiple choice. Pero pag difficult or essay type, subjective type, example, problem solving, short answer. Pag short answer ang tanong, mga 3 points. Pero pag multiple choice, 1 point lang. Kasi binabalance ka natin yung scope versus difficulty. Okay, so you should clarify the task pag sinabi nating designing our CRT. Okay, so I'm moving the slide. Essay style from an essay prompt should encourage deep thinking. So basic naman to, no? The essay should be connected to the topic. Of course, some of the topic, wala naman yung mga tanong minsan is, yung topic the question is related to the topic. Pero yung mga content, sila nang bahala doon kasi ang essay is open-ended. Bahala sila how are going to expound yung topic. Pero yung pinaka-topic, dapat kasama sa iyong syllabus or course outline. Kaya nga, sabi ko di ba example, ang subject ay practical research, senior high school. So ang essay mo dyan, how are you going to apply practical research to business? Yung topic ay practical research pa rin. Pero yung content, bahalan sila doon. Or subject fundamentals of ABM, accountancy, business, and management. Yung topic, connected ba sa tatlo, no? It can be, the essay can be accounting, about business, and about management. Hindi expound. Kasi open-ended ka naman. So, why essay type? Pansin mo dito na talagang dyan nagkakatuloy. Minsan may mga students na hindi siya nasugutan talaga yung essay. Talagang blanco. So, mahina sila sa comprehension, writing, grammar, construct. Mahira sila doon. So, magaling sa multiple choice. Pero pagdating sa essay, I have been checking works of students for the past 25 years. May mga perfect sa multiple choice. Pagdating sa essay blanco, sabi ko sayang to. Perfect ang multiple choice, perfect ang true or false. Enumeration, perfect. Biglang walang sagot yung kanilang essay. So may limitation mga students natin. Hindi palaging magaling sa analysis. Magaling sa lower thinking skills like memorization. Pero pagdating sa application, analysis, creating, evaluation, synthesizing, wala na sila doon. Kaya meron tayong hindi pwedeng puro multiple choice lang. Okay, so scoring and feedbacking, ensuring reliability and constructive improvement. Yung scoring rubrics, of course, you can develop your scoring rubrics, but I have been saying, huwag na pahirapan sarili natin. Meron na mga rubrics na naka-roll out online. So, developing detailed scoring rubrics is essential for consistent evaluation. Ang ginagawa ko ay I have been using rubrics na naka-online, pero nire-revise ko siya. Binabawas pa, hindi masyadong pag di na applicable yung rubrics, yung mga wordings ng rubrics sa pinapagawa mo. So binabawasan ko lang, kasi minsan may mga rubric masyadong mahaba. Binabawasan ko lang, I just simplify rubrics. Pero yung breakdown, the point system of the rubrics, ay nandoon pa rin siya. Okay, rubrics help ensure that at least all test items are assessed against clear, objective criteria that enhance reliability. Reliability ng checking mo, reliability ng assessment, reliability ng credibility ng checker or tayo ng mga educators or mga teachers. Kasi mga magtatong talaga dyan, Wala, may nagtanong na nakaraan sa akin. So, paano po sinetsikal yung sinubmit namin na research? Minsan dinadagdag mo ng criteria yung rubrics, for example. I also add weight on the promptness of submission. Pag masyadong matagal lang submit, paglampas sa deadline, meron siya points na. And of course, the scorers, the educators should be trained. Consistency in scoring can be achieved through training. Training sa atin. One time I attended a webinar on how to create an effective or applicable rubrics. Ensuring the educators should understand evaluation standards and can apply them uniformly across all assessment. Actionable feedback. So, important, no? We are not just checking, pero pagdating sa pwede mong gawin to pag kunti lang. Example, I have a class size na lang sila, 20. Senior high school, practical research. 20 lang sila. So, tapos may group pa sila. So, ano lang to? 5 groups lang. Yan. So, I can provide the feedback. Kasi 5 groups lang naman sila. So after I scored their research, binasa ko isa-isa talaga. I provide the feedback. Nilista ko yan sa notepad. And I provide to them yung feedback. Yung mga errors sila sometimes, pero nagawin ko pa sa video yung feedback ko. I shoot the video of the feedback, then I upload in my channel, then I give to them the link of the feedback. Sa college, ganun din ginagawa ko. I read the research, then I record, I listen to the feedback, then I record the feedback. Ayan. So, important kasi na pwede mong gawin yan pag kunti lang sila, di ba? Pero pag research, okay gamitin sa research ang feedbacking. Kasi nga sa research, may group. Example, 3 members. For example, you have 39 students. Distributed into 13 groups. So, 13 lang checkan mo. 13 lang yung i-feedback mo. So, madalas manageable. Pero pag like 55, masyadong marami rin. Okay, so, we're moving the slide. Understanding essay test and their functions. We should know how to clear it out what sets the CRTs from other types of assessment. Essay tests are unique assessment tools that require critical thinking, articulation, response, so critical thinking. If they are articulate in writing, in construction, sentences, pronunciation, organization skills. Yung pagkakasunod-sunod ba ng mga ng ideas, ng mga examples. Okay, so examining different essay tests. Essay test type. So I have here the three types of essay test. Hindi to short response ang. Short response, isang sentence lang eh. Example, how do you define photosynthesis? So isang short answer lang yun, isang sentence lang. Ang essay, paragraph, at least tatlong paragraph sa essay. Sinabi natin essay. So the first type of essay test, the extended response. Extended response essays requires test takers to elaborate on complex topics, showcasing their critical thinking and writing skills through comprehensive, well-structured arguments and insights. So, ito yung extended na may topic, pero example, topic about global climate. Example na itong extended response, explain 5 effects of climate change on agriculture. So ito ay, ang topic is about climate. Pero restricted siya. I mean, that is extended response. So bakit extended? Although it is about climate change, but specifically, pinag-usapan natin dito is what is the effect of that on agriculture. So, hindi siya open-ended. Kasi nga, agriculture lang pinag-usapan natin dito. Of course, climate change has different effects or impact. Pero dito, sa agriculture lang. Essay tape siya, pa hindi siya open-ended. Extended response lang. Now, pag iba natin siyang restricted response, pag extended, medyo marami kasi 5 effects pa nag-usapan natin dito. So, extended, no? Pag sinabing restricted response essays limit the scope of answers asking specific questions. Example, state the effects of climate change on a student's academic performance. Restricted sa academic performance and restricted sa dalawang effects lang. So, napaka-restricted yan. Hindi siya, pag dinagdagan natin yan ng ginawang 5, yung effects, naging extended response. Okay? Ang pinakamalawak, itong open-ended essay. Open-ended essays encourage creativity and personal expressions, allowing test takers to explore topics freely. Although pinag-usapan ay climate change, pero the students, the learners can choose anong impact niyan. Anong area, isang area merong impact. Kaya open-ended siya. Sa extended kasi kanina, the students cannot choose anong impact. Kasi very specific kanina sa extended, impact lang sa agriculture. Pero pag open-ended, the students can choose impact. Agriculture, science, business, students' lives, sa economy, sa politics, environment. So, open-ended siya. So, mas malawak ang open-ended. Ang pinaka-narrow, the narrowest is the restricted. So, extended, sa gitna. Okay? So, extended, longer than restricted, but shorter than open-ended type of essay. So, depende sa inyo kung anong one. Kung gusto mong madali lang, no, yung pag-check, gawin mo yung one. Extend the response lang. Kumbaga, pag sila nagsalita ng about na hindi connecting sa agriculture, so, bawas na yun. Kasi extended lang naman to. Pero pag pinag-usapan natin ay open-ended, we can talk about the impact of climate change, hindi lang sa agree. But talaga dito, impact on the world. Kung gusto mo talagang madalian, ayan, to restrictive response lang. You can mention like, in not more than 50 words, right? State to effects of climate change on a student's academic performance. So, dalawa lang na impact, tapos restricted pa sa academic performance ng isang estudyante. Siya lang checkan mo. Dalawa na effects, tapos sa academic performance. So, madali siyang so, pag-extended ang response, explain 3 effects of climate change on agriculture. Yan. Pag open-ended naman, to the world. So, pag extended response, essay, answers are specific questions in detail. Pag open-ended, essay allows the writer, the student, to choose how and what to discuss. Kaya tinawag natin siyang open-ended. Okay, so let's move on. Format consideration naman. Time versus untimed. Time essay test, create a sense of urgency. Pag limited yung time, example, pag ito ay part ng prelim exam. So time yung essay kasi 2 oras lang yun . Pero pag yun may part ng isang assignment, we submitted next meeting. So, and time they can elaborate. Kaya lang, we should also consider in-person versus online. Pag in-person, you can do this in-person pag examination, di ba? Really midterm. Pero pag yan ang assignment, so online. Pag in-person, ang essay test provide direct interaction. So, pwede magtanong yung students sa'yo, di ba? They can clarify something pag in person. So at least nag-guide sila pag in person na pinapagawa natin sa kanila. Pero pag yan ay online, so hindi sa mapagtanong. Although you're also open for clarification, may estudyante sa iyo pero hindi naman lahat. Minsan may estudyante tinatamad mag-clarify . Pero pag yan ay in-person, pag nasa room sila, lahat nagtatanong . Another one, siyempre, pag yan ay in-person, talagang kita mo they are writing. Kita mo talaga. Pag ako nagko-proctor, talagang tinitingnan ko sila kung nagsusulat . No? Pero dyan, hindi makapag-umpisa. Sabi ko, ba't hindi ka makapag-umpisa ng essay? Kasi hindi ko alam paano umpisahan . Ng mga mga sagot, no? Pero pag online, we don't know. They are using something. They are using tools. Yung nga sabi natin, di ba? AI are there as a tool. Huwag natin siyang gamitin na yung AI ang gagawa ng essay natin. Kasi kitang-kita mo no? Halatang-halata. If a student is using an AI sa kanilang mga activities or assignment. Kaya nga, pag online, multiple choice, ang daling magtanong sa AI, sagot sa isang multiple choice. Kaya minsan pag ako nagmapa-exam, pag online, no? Hindi ako nagagamit ng multiple choice. Ang ginagamit ko, filling the blanks. Kung bang you will give a sentence, then they will fill the blank. Hindi sa lesson nakaraan. Yan, mas hindi sa pwedeng gamitin ng AI . Pero pag multiple choice and essay type, problem solving, they're using AI. So, gamitin yung filling the blanks. Okay, so, first meron tayong yun nga, we are using Quillbot, pero dapat meron ka rin ginagamit na plagiarism checker. Yung Quillbot mo, premium, no? Meron siyang plagiarism checker, so you can check if student is using hindi mo lang nag-rephrase, no? Of course, they can be using materials online, but they should cite the sources. They should paraphrase and cite the source. Hindi yung talagang word for word ginamit nila sa mga activities or assignment. Crafting effective essay prompts. So once again, prompts are the statement, the instruction, anong gagawin mo sa estudyante dun sa essay o sa question. Yun ang prompts, no? Na tinatawag natin. The prompt should be clear and be using unbiased prompts. Writing prompts that are specific and neutral allows. So the prompts, the instruction, the question should be neutral, unbiased. Okay? Pag ginamit po itong mga specific and neutral prompts, it will allow test takers to focus on your thoughts without confusion. Clarity ensures that the objectives are clearly defined, allowing for fair assessments of knowledge. So ito yung sample ng prompts na bias. It's a neutral bias. So we should avoid this one. So hindi ka pwede magtanong ng prompt or question like this one. Why was the heroic decisions of the leaders obviously the best choice? This one is not neutral. This one is may bias. So we should avoid this one. So bakit bias siya? Kasi dito, parang pinid mo na sa kanila, no? Na isang leader, ang isang heroic leader ay the best choice. Parang hindi mo na siya binigyan ng free freedom to choose kung talagang the best nga siya. Hinagay mo dito diba? The best choice. Kung sagot nila dito, di mo lang justify bakit best choice. Yung pala, hindi pala yun ang best choice para sa kanila. Ay bias yung prompt o yung question or yung instruction. Then how are we going to change this one to unbiased, prompt, or neutral? Ito yung tama. Evaluate the decision. So the students are given the freedom to evaluate the decisions na ginawa ng isang leader based on the outcome. So ang sagot nila dito, it can be not in negative or positive. It can be good decisions or bad decisions. Depende sa estudyante. So they will decide bad or good decisions. Dito kasi, ginadge mo ng good decision ginawa ng isang the best choice na, di ba? Yan ang ina-avoid natin. Paano nga pag ikaw talaga ay para sa akin, bad decision yun. Paano ko sasagutan to? Para sa akin, bad decision ginawa ng leader. Itong maganda. Diba? You have the freedom. And of course, in crafting the essay prompt, those should be aligned with your learning outcomes or learning competencies ng mga estudyante natin. Ensuring that essay prompts are consistently aligned with defined competencies ng isang estudyante. Ano bang nakalagay sa learning outcomes? Diba? Yung isang particular topic. Kaya nga, I always start my lesson by providing the learning outcomes. Kasi doon natin ina-anchor, yun tayo gumagawa ng mga tanong. Then how do you measure? Kasi nga, pag sinabing learning outcomes, pagkatapos ng lesson, ito yung kaya nilang gawin. And how do you measure? Through assessment. Per essay. Meron tayong mga anchoring the questions to the learning outcomes. Rubric development and scoring methods. So nga yun, meron kayong clear criteria. Pinakita ko kanina, diba? We have 7 criteria.
Developing clear criteria and scales is essential for ensuring consistent grading. So, depende sa pinapagawa pag-essay, sample ng mga criteria, organization, sentence construction, clarity of thought, samples, yun. Conclusion, meron ba? Yes, yun nga. Pinatest natin eh. Pag mga performance naman, example, PE subject, no? Tapos, nasayaw mo sila. So, ibang criteria naman doon. Example, gracefulness ba yun? Agility, technique, ayun. Or, ang tawag dito? Innovativeness, hindi. Yung techniques and uniqueness ng sayaw. Holistic analytics. Sa rubric sa inyong gagawin, dapat may holistic. Yung pinakita ko yun ng sample ng rubrics. Balikan ko lang yung rubrics natin kanina. Itong column headings, above average, its improvement. Ito yung holistic. Okay? Yung analytics, ito yung mga criteria. Pag sa analytics kasi yung brain, mas detalyadong analytics kesa holistic. Ang analytics natin, ito, organization, level of content, development, grammar, style, format, citation of sources. Ito analytics is specific criteria. Ito yung holistic. Kung sila ba above average ba sila? Excellent? Average? Or below average? Or needs improvement? Yun. Kung sinasabi natin, pag gagawa kayo ng mga rubrics, restricted versus holistic versus analytic. Holistic scoring provides an overall assessment of an essay, while analytic scoring breaks down performance into specific criteria. Sinabi kanina, organization, samples, content, citations, ayan. In its method offers unique advantage depending on the assessment goals. And of course, technology-assisted tools, technology-assisted scoring tools can streamline the grading process. Kaya nga, meron tayong, di ba? You are using AI in creating you want a specific rubrics. Sample, yung rubrics, di mo makita online. Wala makita ang sample online. You can there's technology-assisted tools para to provide you with specific rubric. Siyempre, pag ginamang AI, garbage in, garbage out. O depende sa pag-feed mo ng instruction sa AI, kung ano ang ilalabas sa mga sagot. Pag mali naman yung feed sa AI, pag garbage in, o di garbage out din ang bibigay sa'yo. So, depende sa instruction sa AI para makuha mo yung perfect na most appropriate rubrics na pwede mong gamitin sa iyong mga assessment. Okay, so addressing challenges in essay testing, subjectivity scoring. Ang subjectivity, wala nang problem dito kasi nga yung subjectivity can be answered by using a rubrics, ay criteria na pwede na rin magamitin para we cannot be accused of being biased mga students natin. And ang ginagawa ko dyan, yun nga, pag nag-check ako ng mga essay, ang una kong ginagawa, pag test booklet yan, di ba, I told you this before, ang test booklet, tinutupi ko kaagad yung cover ng test booklet kasi sa cover nandun yung pangalan. Tinutupi ko agad yung parang bias, wala. Kasi may minsan kasi, itong estudyante ito, masipag to. Siguro, mayroon lang to. Di lang natapos. Yung mga points, pag nakatupi yung yung cover ng booklet, di mo alaman if he's the student. O pag test paper naman yan, di ba? So, tinutupi yung upper part ng pangalan. Para hindi mo alam. Time constraint din, pag nagmamadali ka, di ba? So you should be given the student enough ample time to answer yung essay. Kaya nga, pag nagpapa-exam ako, 2 oras. Para meron silang enough time to answer yung essay type. Kasi pag 1 oras lang yan, tapos may essay type ka, so doon sa oras yan. It can impact the performance of the student, yung kanilang quality. And of course, plagiarism issues. Plagiarism undermines the integrity of essay test. Implementing plagiarism detection tools and fostering a culture of academic. Kaya nga, sabi ko, di ba, you can subscribe to, ginagamit ko Quillbot in testing plagiarism. Paano pag handwritten booklet, ang ginagawa ko dyan, pag konti lang naman, di ba, ang ginagawa ko dyan, di ba, may Quillbot tool ang ginagamit to check plagiarism. So, pinipicturean ko yung gawa. So, photos, di ba? Then, I convert the photo into Word format. Into MS Word format. Yung MS Word format, yun ang ilalatag mo, ipipaste mo doon sa plagiarism software. Yan. So, para ma-detect. Minsan, 100% plagiarizing. Kaya maganda yung gawa ay talagang in person yung pag-test, no? At least alam nila na sila ay minomonitor ng proctor. Clarity, key element, understanding, effective question design. Clarity in question design ensure that students understand what is being asked. So, yung prompt nyo dapat very clear, no? Hindi siya ambiguous or hindi siya confusing. Ang instruction isa lang. Nag-iisa lang. Focus questions, target specific knowledge or skills. So, pag ang learning outcomes is ang verb na ginamit ko sa Bloom's taxonomy is apply or create or synthesize or evaluate or distinguish or classify. Yun din ang tanong mo sa essay format. Diba? Example dito, ang learning outcomes distinguish the different types of presidency. Sa essay type mo, ganun din, di ba? Enumerate, mention the past presidents from 1965 to 2025 and distinguish their presidents. Hindi sila classify, di ba? Hindi sila nag-enumerate, but they should be distinguishing the presidents. Unambiguity, dapat hindi siya confusing, hindi siya ambiguous. Wording prevents ambiguous words sa confusing, no? You should avoid those words so that students can respond confidently and accurately. Kasi may mga confusing words or not so very clear words na ginagamit tayo. 8 types of questions, direct recall. Pwedeng spicy type mo dito. You're just quite enumerate the president of the Philippines, the years, the full names from 1902, from Aguinaldo to yan. Direct recall yan. Madali lang direct recall di ba? Just enumerate pangalan president, then yung kanilang years, yung kalang from example 1992 to 1998. And you can also have types of question like application. Example, how are you going to apply research in everyday lives? Application. O pwedeng analysis na. Analysis questions are required to students to evaluate information or concepts critically, enabling deeper insights and a more comprehensive understanding. Example, ang paboritong subject history. Ang tanong sa essay ganito, And could Andres Bonifacio be also considered as president of the Philippines? Diba? So, of course, they can recall Andres Bonifacio, but analysis, si Bonifacio ba can be considered as president of the Philippines? Diba? Or nagpa-enumerate ka. Enumerate the heroes of the revolution, the Philippine Revolution. Madali lang yan, pero pag nag-essay mo yan, ang title ganito, Aguinaldo versus Bonifacio, or Rizal versus Bonifacio. Who is the true national hero? Diba? So, essay, analysis, diba? Tawag natin dyan. Or pag sa application naman, of course, di na Jose Rizal. Pero pag nagpa-essay ka ng application, how are you going to apply the teachings of Jose Rizal in your student life? So, application na yun. Pag recall naman, di ba, enumerate the novels and poems written by Jose Rizal. So, recall. Advantages, challenges. Short answer test may show deeper understanding of material. Of course, ang short answer is shorter than essay. Diba? Isang sentence ng short answer test. Example, pag sumasagot ka ng survey, may chinechikan ka doon, meron namang tanong na how are you going to improve? Yan, short answer yun, hindi sa essay. Diba? So the purpose is to allowing the student to demonstrate knowledge beyond simple recall. Hindi naman masyadong mahabang sagot, but more than simple recall. Challenges. Scoring short answers test can be time consuming. Of course, meron ka rin rubrics for short answer exams. This one is time consuming and subjective, as it may lead to ambiguous answers. Mahirap sikan dito, no? Time consuming na nga. Gamit pa ng rubrics. Sometimes, yung mga wordings ng mga estudyante, hindi mo maintindihan yung kanilang pinaka-thought. You have the right thought in mind, but they cannot convert their thought into writing. Minsan tama yung siguro lang isip nila, pero yung the choice of words pwedeng mali, ambiguous. So, ambiguous answers. So, avoiding common test pitfalls. Many test takers struggle with common mistakes like misreading questions. Ayan, nagmamadali. Sabi ko, before the first thing I do before giving the exam, huwag mo nang bubuksan ng mga test questions. Basahin natin isa-isa yung mga instructions. Kasi minsan, example, very clear naman ang prompt mo. Nakalagay, write true or false. Write true if the answer is correct. Write false if otherwise. Sumasagot pa na ng letter T or letter F. Letter T for true, letter F for false. So, minamali ang agad yung follow instructions. Because they like misreading questions or instructions or rushing through answers. Ang kakalimutan. Example, ang tanong is true or false. Yung bandang dulo, hindi na masyadong binabasa. Yung pala, yung dulo, yung last word pala, ang magpapa-false sa isang statement. Hindi binasa. Kanila true. To succeed in essay test, take time to carefully read instructions and practice mindfulness techniques that promote focus and clarity. Okay, that is the last slide, guys. Hoping that you got something from my presentation today. And maglalambing lang, subscribe sa aking munting channel. Maraming salamat everyone. See you around.